What up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and I'm back again to drop some more math jewels. In this video, we're going to verify function inverses, okay? So I did a video and showed you how to find the inverse of a function as well as finding the inverse of a relation. But in this one, I'm going to verify that two functions are inverses of one another. So there is a rule that tells us when you have a function f and its inverse, f inverse of x. So you have f of x, and then you have f inverse of x. This is the inverse, right? If these functions are inverses of each other, then f of f inverse of x would equal just x. And it's the same thing. F inverse of f of x, make that simple, would equal x. What does that mean? I know you're probably thinking it. All that means is simply if you take the inverse of a function and put it into the original function, you should get x when you simplify it. If you take the original function and substitute it into the inverse, simplify it, you should get x. All right, so I'm going to take two different functions, all right? I'm going to say, let's say if I have f of x equals 2x minus 1, and let's say I have g of x equals 1/2 x plus 1/2. Now, in the original part, I told you f of x and f inverse of x, it's the same thing. G of x can be f inverse of x. We're trying to prove it, so I want to write this as g of x instead of f inverse of x. So what I'm going to say is if these are inverses, I can find f of g of x, and it should equal x if these are inverses. So f of g of x will equal x if these are inverses. So let's find f of g of x. Well, f of g of x is going to be 2 times, remember I need to substitute this here for that x. So 1/2 x plus 1/2, and then put that minus 1. Now just simplify. Well, first of all, I want to use the distributive property. 2 times 1/2 x is going to be, half of 2 is 1, so just x. And then 2 times 1/2 is just 1, and then minus 1. Simplify this, plus 1 minus 1, I get x. So f of g of x is equal to x. Therefore, f of x and g of x are inverses because when I found f of g of x, it simplified to be x. Now I can do the same thing. I could say g of f of x, and I should still get the same thing. So let's do g of f of x. So I should get x, right? Well, g of f of x is equal to 1/2 times 2x minus 1. I just substituted this here now, plus 1/2. All right, distributive property. 1/2 times 2x is just x. 1/2 times negative 1 is negative 1/2, and then bring down this positive 1/2. Well, negative 1/2 plus 1/2 is 0, right? So I just get x. So g of f of x equals x. So yes, these two functions are inverses of one another. So we have another example. We're going to once again prove that f of x and g of x are inverses of one another or not. All right. So I got to find f of g of x. Or you can find g of f of x. You don't have to do both, actually. If you just find if f of g of x equals x, they're inverses, okay? Or if you do g of f of x and it equals x, they're inverses. So what I want to do is I want to say f of g of x is equal to -3. Remember, I'm going to take this whole function and plug it in here. So times negative 1/3 x plus 1/6, and then bring down the plus 1/2. All right. So distributive property first. Well, negative 3 times 1/3. Negative 3 times negative 1/3 is positive. It's going to give you positive x. All right, because the negative times the negative is a positive, and 3 times 1/3, the 3's actually will cancel out, leaving you with 1x. All right, now I have minus negative 3 times 1/6 is 3 times 1/6 is 3/6. Well, 3/6 is equal to 1/2. So this is minus 1/2, and then bring down this plus 1/2. And as you can see, negative 1/2 plus 1/2 is 0, so that equals x. So f of g of x equals x. Therefore, f of x and g of x are inverses of one another. I can go ahead and prove the other part. We can do g of f of x, just because sometimes there's some non-believers. And I'm one of those teachers, I be hoping the kids say prove it. Like, I wish they would. G of f of x equals negative 1/3 times negative 3x plus 1/2, and then plus 1/6. All right, so all I did was I took this function and plugged it in for this x. Distribute. Negative times negative is a positive. 1/3 times 3 is just 1, so I get x. 1/3 times negative 1/3 times 1/2 is negative, and that gives me 1/6. And then I bring down this plus 1/6. And notice these are opposites, so they equal 0 when you add them up. G of f of x equals x. So f of x and g of x are inverses of one another. Remember, subscribe, please. Young Gurus Math Tutoring. I got the solution to your math problems.